For decades, Pretty Woman lived in people's memories as a story that should never be continued. Edward and Vivian's ending felt clean and magical. He climbed the fire escape. She chose love on her own terms. The screen faded out and time did the rest. Fans grew older, the world changed. And the idea of a sequel slowly turned into a joke people made but never believed. That is why the return of this story feels so powerful. Nobody was waiting for it, yet everyone suddenly cares. When rumors about Pretty Woman to 2025 started spreading, many people ignored them. Hollywood loves nostalgia, but this felt different. This was not just another reboot or remake. This was a direct continuation of two characters that defined romance for a whole generation. The moment Richard Gere and Julia Roberts were mentioned together again, the conversation changed. This was no longer about money or trends. It became about emotion. The shock is not only that they are back. The shock is the timing. 30 years later, Edward and Vivian are no longer young people chasing dreams. They are older, shaped by choices, regrets, and silence. That alone changes the entire meaning of the story. Love at 20 feels exciting. Love after a lifetime feels heavy. The sequel understands that weight and leans into it. The trailer does not rush into romance. It opens slowly, almost carefully. Long looks, quiet spaces, faces that carry history without saying a word. There is no fairy tale energy here. Instead, there is distance. Something happened between Edward and Vivian after the original ending, and whatever it was, it never fully healed. The film does not try to erase the past. It asks what happens after the dream ends. This return also works because the audience has changed. The people who loved the original film are now older too. They understand compromise, missed chances, and the pain of wondering what if. The sequel speaks directly to that feeling. It does not promise easy happiness. It promises honesty. What makes this return even more surprising is how quiet it is. There is no loud announcement, no big celebration. The story lets the emotions speak first. That silence feels intentional. It tells the audience that this is not a repeat of the past. This is a continuation shaped by time. In the end, Pretty Woman 2 exists because the original story never truly ended in people's hearts. The love stayed alive even when the screen went dark. And now, after all these years, the film asks one simple but powerful question. What happens when the fairy tale meets reality? Years have passed since Edward climbed that fire escape, and life did not freeze after that moment. Time moved forward, quietly and without mercy. Edward Lewis is no longer the powerful man driven only by deals and numbers. Age has softened him, but it has also made him more aware of what he lost along the way. Success still surrounds him, but it feels colder now. Big rooms feel empty. Achievements feel smaller. The man who once believed control was everything has learned. That control does not protect you from loneliness. Edward's life today looks perfect from the outside. Money, respect, influence, all of it is still there. But inside, something is missing. The trailer shows him standing alone more than once, not speaking, just watching. These moments are important. They tell us that his past choices still follow him. Loving Vivian once changed him, but leaving that chapter unfinished may have cost him more than he ever realized. Vivian's life has also changed in ways fans did not expect. She is no longer the woman discovering her worth. She already knows it. Time gave her strength, confidence, and independence. She does not need saving anymore. And that is exactly what makes her different from the Vivian Edward first met. She built a life on her own terms, and it shows in the way she carries herself. Calm, grounded, and guarded, but strength does not erase memory. Vivian still carries the emotional weight of that love. The story suggests that even though she moved forward, part of her stayed behind. Not because she was weak, but because first love leaves a mark that never fully fades. Her expressions in the trailer are not soft or hopeful. They are careful. She looks like someone who learned to protect her heart. The most important change is not where they are, but how they see each other now. Edward no longer looks at Vivian as someone he rescued. He looks at her as someone he failed to fully choose. Vivian no longer looks at Edward as a dream. She looks at him as a memory that still asks questions. Their reunion is not filled with smiles or passion. It is filled with silence. That silence says everything. It tells us there were years without contact, years without closure. They did not grow together. They grew apart. And now, when fate brings them back into the same space, neither of them knows who should speak first. They are strangers who know each other too well. This version of Edward and Vivian reflects real life. Love does not always break loudly. Sometimes it fades slowly, hidden behind busy lives and missed calls. The sequel understands that truth. It does not rush their reunion. It lets the tension sit, heavy and uncomfortable. What makes this chapter powerful is balance. Edward is no longer above Vivian. Vivian is no longer looking up to Edward. They meet as equals, shaped by time and experience. That equality creates conflict, but it also creates honesty. Where they are now is not a place of romance. It is a place of reflection. To people standing at the edge of what once was, trying to decide if the past still has a future. The heart of Pretty Woman 2 is not about repeating a love story. It is about facing the consequences of one. The new storyline places Edward and Vivian in a situation where they cannot avoid each other anymore. Fate does not bring them together gently. It pushes them into the same space with unfinished business hanging between them. This time, there is no escape through money, charm, or silence. The central conflict begins when a major life event forces Edward to look back at decisions he once buried. The trailer hints at a turning point tied to his legacy, something that challenges how he lived his life and who he truly cared about. This is not about saving a company or closing a deal. It is about facing the cost of emotional distance. Edward realizes that the success he chased may have taken more from him than it gave. Vivian enters this conflict from a very different place. She does not arrive with hope or expectation. She arrives with boundaries. Her life is stable, her identity is clear, and she has no interest in reopening wounds without reason. The story makes it clear that she is not pulled back by love alone. She is pulled back by truth. There are questions she never asked and answers she never received. This reunion gives her the chance to finally face them. What makes the conflict powerful is that neither character is wrong. Edward believes he loved Vivian in the best way he knew how at the time. Vivian believes that love without choice and respect was never enough. The film does not rush to choose sides. Instead, it lets the audience sit with the discomfort of two people who cared deeply but failed to meet each other fully. The storyline also avoids the easy path of romance. There is no quick spark, no sudden kiss, no magical moment that fixes everything. Every interaction feels careful, measured, and tense. Conversations pause before they begin. Words are chosen slowly. Silence often speaks louder than dialogue. This approach makes the emotional conflict feel real and earned. A key part of the story is the idea of second chances. Not everyone believes in them, and the film does not treat them as guaranteed. It asks whether a second chance is something you deserve or something you must earn. Edward wants redemption, but redemption requires listening, not fixing. Vivian wants closure, but closure does not always mean reunion. Modern themes run quietly beneath the surface. Power has shifted. The world they live in now values equality, self-respect, and emotional honesty. The film reflects this shift by challenging the fantasy of the original ending. Love is no longer about rescue. It is about recognition. The conflict grows as both characters are forced to confront versions of themselves they outgrew. Edward must face the man who believed control was love. Vivian must face the woman who once accepted less than she deserved. Neither of these reflections are comfortable, but they are necessary as the story unfolds. The question is no longer whether Edward and Vivian still love each other. The real question is whether love, shaped by time and pain, can survive truth. The film builds toward that question slowly, refusing easy answers. This is not a story about going back. It is a story about deciding if moving forward together is even possible. The trailer for Pretty Woman 2 2025 is short, but every second feels intentional. It does not explain the story clearly, and that choice matters. Instead of dialogue-heavy moments, the trailer focuses on looks, pauses, and space. This tells the audience that the real story will be emotional, not loud. The film wants viewers to feel first and understand later. One of the strongest details in the trailer is how often Edward is shown alone. Empty rooms, quiet streets, long pauses. These images suggest a life that looks full from the outside but feels empty inside. The camera often keeps its distance from him, as if he is surrounded by walls he built himself. This visual choice reflects a man who spent years protecting his heart by keeping people out. Vivian's presence is handled very differently. When she appears, the camera feels closer, more grounded. She is shown in motion, walking, working, living. This contrast is important. It shows that while Edward has been stuck in reflection, Vivian kept moving forward. The trailer never presents her as broken or lost. Instead, she feels stable, careful, and strong. Another hidden detail is the use of silence. Music fades in and out, but many moments are left quiet. No words, just breathing, footsteps, or background noise. Silence in a trailer is rare, and when used well, it creates tension. Here, it suggests conversations that were never finished, things that were never said. The silence becomes a character of its own. The trailer also includes subtle visual callbacks to the original film, but none of them feel playful or romantic. A familiar setting appears briefly, but it looks older, worn by time. This shows that memory does not stay frozen. Even beautiful moments age. The film seems to respect the original without copying it. Lighting plays a quiet but powerful role. Scenes between Edward and Vivian often feel dim or softly lit. There are no bright colors or glowing moments. This choice reflects emotional caution. These are to people walking carefully around feelings that could hurt them again. The warmth is still there, but it is hidden beneath layers of experience. One moment that stands out is a near interaction where Edward and Vivian are in the same frame, but not facing each other. This choice visually explains their relationship better than words could. They are close, yet emotionally misaligned. Together but apart. This framing repeats more than once, showing that their distance is not accidental. The trailer avoids showing any clear resolution. There is no promise of a happy ending. No final embrace. No dramatic confession. This absence is important. It tells the audience that the film values honesty over comfort. Whatever happens between these two will not be simple. Even the pacing of the trailer feels slow and controlled. It refuses quick cuts or excitement. This pacing reflects the emotional pace of the story itself. Healing, reflection, and truth take time. The film allows space for that. What the trailer does not show may be its strongest move. We do not see arguments, but we feel tension. We do not hear apologies, but we sense regret. By holding back, the trailer invites the audience to lean in instead of being told what to feel. In the end, the trailer does not sell romance. It sells meaning. It asks viewers to return not for nostalgia but for closure, growth, and emotional truth. In 2025, love stories are not viewed the same way they were decades ago. Audiences are more aware, more thoughtful, and more honest about emotions. That is why Pretty Woman feels relevant now in a way it never would have years earlier. This sequel is not trying to recreate a fantasy. It is trying to reflect reality as people understand it today. The original film showed a romantic dream where love arrived suddenly and changed everything. It was charming, hopeful, and simple. But time has taught audiences that love is not only about arrival. It is about effort, balance, and respect. This sequel speaks directly to that growth. It does not dismiss the past, but it questions it in a mature way. One reason this sequel matters is how it treats age and time. Hollywood often avoids stories about love later in life, especially for women. Here, Vivian is not pushed aside or reduced to memory. She stands at the center of the story as a complete person with her own history and strength. Her value is not tied to youth or beauty. It is tied to experience and self-worth. Edward's journey also reflects modern thinking. Success is no longer shown as the ultimate reward. The film quietly suggests that ambition without emotional connection can lead to emptiness. This message resonates strongly today when many people question what success truly means. Edward's struggle feels familiar, even to younger audiences. The sequel also speaks to the idea of emotional accountability. In older romance stories, mistakes were often forgiven easily. In this film, they are examined. Feelings are not erased by apologies alone. Characters must listen, reflect, and accept responsibility. This approach aligns with how modern audiences view healthy relationships. Another reason the film matters is its refusal to offer easy answers. It understands that not all love stories end the same way. Some relationships teach lessons rather than lasting forever. By allowing that possibility, the film respects its audience's intelligence and life experience. The cultural impact of the original Pretty Woman is also part of this sequel's importance. That film shaped how romance was shown for years. Revisiting it now allows the story to evolve along with society. It opens a conversation about how far audiences have come and what they now expect from love on screen. This sequel also bridges generations. Older viewers bring nostalgia and memory. Younger viewers bring curiosity and fresh perspective. The story speaks to both by focusing on universal emotions like regret, hope, and the fear of missed chances. These feelings do not belong to one age group. In a time when many sequels exist only to repeat success, Pretty Woman stands out by challenging its own legacy. It risks discomfort in exchange for honesty. That risk gives it meaning ultimately. This film matters in 2025 because it treats love as something real, complicated, and worth examining. It reminds audiences that romance does not end with a kiss. Sometimes, it truly begins after the dream fades.